So, how's that weaponization committee going? You know, the House Republicans' big Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz project, the special select subcommittee that was going to expose what exactly? It seems like Jim Jordan doesn't even know. Now, one Republican is trashing the subcommittee's process as, quote, very much amateur hour. Speaking to Rolling Stone on the condition of anonymity, they added that airing this, quote, stuff on live television would make us look like morons. Here is Congressman Dan Goldman, a Democratic member of the subcommittee and an actual former prosecutor who's actually worked on actual investigations.
When they come and testify, you'll have access to the transcript like everyone on the committee will.
You mean your staff is not going to turn it over to our staff? We're just in the dark?
No, when the transcript is done, you will get the transcript.
I mean of the dozens of whistleblowers you have already talked to that came to talk to your staff.
Yeah, what do you want me to turn over there?
Did you...
Their names?
Notes? Did anyone take notes?
I'll be happy to talk with the ranking member on how we handle that information.
Thank you.
In that clip, Congressman Jim Jordan claimed to have spoken to dozens and dozens of witnesses about the, quote, political nature of the Justice Department. It turns out, according to a report released by Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee, based on interviews conducted by Republican staff, the first three witnesses interviewed sound like absolute kooks who don't even fit the definition of a federal whistleblower. The 316-page report concludes, quote, we are able to draw a number of striking conclusions about the state of the Republican investigation. First, the three individuals we have met are not, in fact, whistleblowers. None of these witnesses has provided evidence of misconduct by the FBI, the Department of Justice, or any other public official. Each offered a wide range of personal opinions, but to the extent that they testified about matters to which they claimed to have firsthand knowledge at all, none showed any evidence of wrongdoing. Additionally, there's reason to doubt the credibility of these witnesses. Each endorses an alarming series of conspiracy theories related to the January 6th Capitol attack, the COVID vaccine, and the validity of the 2020 election. One has called repeatedly for the dismantling of the FBI. Another suggested that it would be better for Americans to die than to have any kind of domestic intelligence program. So, say what? Not only do Jim Jordan's witnesses, who, based on the Democrats' report, appear to be disgruntled former FBI officials, not fit the definition of a whistleblower, all were bought and paid for by a small cabal of former Trump officials, including Kash Patel, who sent one of the witnesses $5,000 immediately after the two first connected. The report goes on to say, quote, based on this evidence, committee Democrats conclude that there is a strong likelihood that Kash Patel is encouraging the witnesses to continue pursuing their meritless claims and, in fact, is using them to propel his vendetta against the FBI, Justice Department, and Biden administration on behalf of himself and President Trump. And there it is. What is this subcommittee trying to do exactly? Because Donald Trump is the only president to have been impeached twice. Donald Trump is the only president to have required 2 special prosecutors running 3 separate investigations, which covered his 2016 presidential run, almost his entire time in office, and his actions leaving office. Donald Trump is a defendant in multiple civil lawsuits and a subject in criminal investigations in multiple states. He directed rioters to storm the Capitol, which we all watched on television, live as it happened. He's lied repeatedly and relentlessly about his election loss to Joe Biden. Lies we now know not even Fox anchors believed. Defending Donald Trump is a dead end. Trump is a loser. This has been proven in the last 3 elections. And for some reason, House Republicans' #1 issue is proving Donald Trump is a victim. We won't be hearing from those weaponization witnesses at a public hearing anytime soon. As the report says, quote, it is no surprise that House Republicans have so far refused to allow these individuals to testify in public. Next Thursday, the Jordan subcommittee will hold a hearing instead on Twitter, in keeping with the theme, to try to prove Donald Trump is a victim of social media. We all remember what happened last time. The House held a hearing on that.
So you got the government saying your terms of service, which don't have to comply with the First Amendment, but the government saying we don't think these accounts comply with your terms of service. Please take them down. You see a problem there, Mr. Roth?
Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing a flashing red light. I'm happy to answer the question. Do I think that that's a valuable use of the FBI's time? No, but I don't see in a request for review a problem under the First Amendment, no.
I sure do. I thank the gentleman. I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Conley for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good.
My, what happens when you hold a hearing and you can't prove your point?